up the prestige of it. Yes, Jey Uso's got it and Gunther had it, and the longer it's around, the more prestigious it's becoming. I understand all of that, but it's never going to be the WWE Championship. It's never going to be as good as the belt Cena has got right now, because that is the belt. That is the belt where the lineage goes back to Bruno Sammartino. That is the belt that Hogan and Andre fought for. That is the belt that Stone Cold carried. It's not the one that Jay's got. The one that Jay's got, we just plucked out of thin air a few years ago. The real one is the one that Cena has. So I don't want Hogan's name added to that lineage. I really would like to think WWE would put their foot down at that point, but yeah, there is a storm coming. There is a dilemma coming, but I think we can kick that can down the road a little further. I think we can kick it down the road a little further. I don't think that we have to take the belt off Jey. Do you know, there is also a sad truth about humanity. I'm going to tell you a sad truth about humanity, and that is that if you gradually do something, it's more palatable, right? And that is a sad truth. Take the ring, for example. Hate the sponsorships in the ring, but you don't hear people complaining about it. The reason why is because they put the Prime bottle in the middle of the ring. That had a big backlash. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone had an opinion. And I think the general consensus was, well, it's not ideal, but at least it's not coloured in. And it's not this major distraction. At least it's just one thing. And look where we are now. Look where we are now. We've now got coloured sponsored, like, you know, the Snickers one that is like brown and red and blue. Like, it's actually got colours. So it's not just an outline or just a word. It's like a Snickers bar is in the ring, right? And then you've got them in the corners. You've got the turnbuckle pads. But you don't hear people kicking off about it because it started off as something relatively small and palatable, and okay, I can just about tolerate that. And then they gradually just increase it over time. And I think the same is true here. You could have Logan win that world title and lose it the same night, right? He could maybe cash in, and then, like, I don't know, somehow manage to flipping lose it because there's someone that comes down and challenges him, and he accepts the challenge and loses it, right? Whatever. But he will have had it then. And then that means that if he gets it the next time, it's not going to sting as much because technically he's already had it. He might have only had it for a night, you know? It might be that he wins it on the Sunday and loses it on Raw. He might have it for 24 hours and that's it. But once that is done, a second reign is not as dramatic as it. A second reign isn't going to sting as much. And I do think that this is a little tactic that WWE use on us, on fans. If they want us to take some medicine that's not very nice to take, they'll give you a little taste of it so that you go, oh, I didn't like that. And then, but you go, okay, that's fine. And then they'll give you flipping more later. And for some reason, the backlash does not get bigger. The outrage does not grow. People just sort of accept it. And I think that is a bit of a sad statement when it comes to humanity, that we are quite accepting by and large once we've kind of got over the initial shock. So, yeah, all of that just to say, yeah, mentally prepare yourself for a Logan Paul world title reign. That was the moral of the story. Jojo, shout out to you, my friends. Welcome, welcome. Braun Strowman has been released. James said Caden, Katana, Braun, and Dakota have been released. Wow. Well, we did fear that this was going to happen, didn't we? So Sean Ross just reporting this. I wonder why they're issuing this news now. It's been in the air, honestly. It's been in the air. So 10 minutes ago, Sean said releases were starting. Then 4 minutes ago, Caden and Katana got release.
I like them.
I feel like I was ready for this, to be honest with you. I'm really, really disappointed that Kayden and Katana are gone. I really like them. You know that I rated them. I love the little dance and that, but there is a sad truth when it comes to the women's tag division that we have spoken about, and that is that you don't need women's tag teams. Like, that's not how they use those belts. Yes, it would be lovely to have a women's tag division like the men's, but the way they've used those belts before is they've put just two wrestlers. Look at Liv and Raquel, look at Jade and Bianca. You know, look at, go back through the history. It's normally two single stars thrown together, and that is by design. That's not like because we don't have teams, it's because that's how they want to use those belts. So if you are a dedicated women's tag team, that is not a focus for WWE. And it was so exciting when Kayden and Katana were around, because it felt like a green shoot. It felt like maybe the beginning of something, you know? Felt like maybe the beginning of something. Like, we could actually grow that division, but I think this is a pretty clear message that that is still not the direction that they're looking to go. So really disappointed by Kayden and Katana. I always found them very entertaining. Dakota Kai, I mean, what can you say about Dakota? She is someone that I think has really struggled with injury. She's someone that I think, unfortunately, she was released before and then brought back to Damage Control. She was, I believe, out of the company, wasn't she? And she got brought back. Io was called up, but Dakota was brought back. And I think, unfortunately, it's just a situation where I think there's been some injury there. I think we've got some women coming through. I don't know. I don't know what her mobility is like now. I don't know if she's hindered in any way with those injuries. Mm. You know, wrestling has got a bit of a problem with ACL injuries. You know, like where people have to then wear a knee brace and all of that. I mean, I think it's because of like the way matches are done now, like with more moonsaults and things along those lines. There's a lot more high risk spots now than there ever was before. And the problem with that is that it is having an impact on wrestlers' bodies. And, you know, Bayley said the other day, people don't know how bad my injury was just after the pandemic. She's like, if people knew how bad my injury was, they wouldn't believe it. Like, I really think she struggled to walk and stuff like that. The way she was talking, I think that was a much more severe injury than we even know. I think the rehabilitation was hard. And I don't think it's the same wrestler, to be honest with you. I don't think Bayley is the same wrestler since her injury. And I don't know if Asuka will be the same wrestler because Asuka's got a knee brace now. Seen pictures of her with a knee brace. I wonder if there is a sad truth. You know, I wonder if it'll really come to light that if you do your ACL or whatever, there is a way that it can recover and that you can be fine. But there's also a good percentage chance where you're never going to be able to work the same again. You'll never be the same wrestler. It's too serious of an injury, you know? I mean, to wrestle with a knee brace on, like Austin had to, you know? But then Austin was never doing moonsaults. Austin, you see, the thing is, Austin's style never needed to change. He was always a brawler. He was always kick to the midsection, throwing in some punches, you know, hurling people into the corner, clothesline, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, right? He was never doing, like, tope suicidas and all this kind of stuff, you know? He's never doing suicide dives and blooming moonsaults and shooting star presses and all that sort of stuff. So it was never going to hinder his work, but perhaps we are seeing it being a case where it is hindering some modern superstars' work. So that would be what I would say for Dakota. Too much time away, too much injury, and I think it's just you fall behind in the pecking order. I feel really sorry for her. Braun Strowman has been released. I don't know about that, honestly. I don't know. Braun Strowman, I don't know what you would say about Braun, because Braun is someone that's is big, he's strong, he is. You would think a good person to have around. He got released before. I mean, maybe like they just don't know what to do with him. I know that he was complaining about not being at WrestleMania, and Paul Heyman told him he sucked. I think he does the monster thing well. I just think that the creative, botched him. I mean, get these hands and stuff like that. It's just that I always thought that was rubbish. Braun it's really hard for Braun, because you would think that his size. I mean, I think creative have botched him. You look at his size and you're just like, why didn't you make him like a Paul Heyman guy? Why didn't you give him a manager? He was never a great talker, but he never needed to be a great talker, right? Andre the Giant was never a great talker, but he didn't need to be a great talker. So why did you never give him a manager? And why did you have him with like a get these hands type flipping catchphrase and stuff like that? That was, I thought, always a little bit cringe, honestly. I don't know. I really enjoyed his feud with Bronson Reed. I think that was a real highlight of his career. Obviously being in the riots as well, of course, and flipping over the ambulance. I mean, he did a lot of good stuff. There was some really good stuff that he was a part of. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know why you'd let him go, honestly. That one, out of the three we've spoke about, that's the one that shocks me the most at the moment. The choo-choo train thing ruined him as well. Yeah, I agree. The Strowman Express on the outside. Didn't they actually play some music one week? I'm pretty sure, I didn't dream it, but one week they actually played like a train sound as he ran around the outside of the ring. It was just on a random Raw or random SmackDown. Now, I think they only did it 1 week, but they were really trying to make that a thing, yeah. They took a giant and they made him pretty cringe at times. I didn't like Get These Hands, and I agree, the Strowman Express thing, not great.
Still not even dark now.
Promo's not great. But when he had a feud like he did with Bronson Reed, really good. Really enjoyed that feud. And if I think about his feud back in like 2017 with Roman, where he's flipping over ambulances and pulling down the rigging and all of that, like, great. I wonder if it's a sad truth that if you've got like that sort of size, it's hard to be booked because you just can't use that person on a regular basis. Andre the Giant worked because he kept going to different territories. So he didn't get overexposed. But look at what happened to Big Show. I mean, Big Show, just completely lost all of his aura. I don't know if Braun had lost all of his aura. I think he kind of had. But I think there was like little flickers like that Bronson Reed feud. Or him and Jacob. He did a little bit with Jacob that was good. I remember those two, but was it earlier this year? We saw those two kind of face to face, and it was like, oh, let's go. I was quite excited for that. I'm not surprised about Dakota. I think there's some amazing women that are coming through. I feel sorry for her, but I'm not surprised. I actually cut some out of Unseen, which I wish I'd kept in there. There was a thing at the start of yesterday's Unseen where Zelina Vega said she wanted to defend her title against Dakota. And I was actually started the last Unseen by saying, this feels like it's Zelina saying, I want to defend against Dakota because she's worried Dakota might get cut. And I was like, I can't prove that, but I promise you, it's in the air at the moment. And I think I do make that point in Unseen. I say in Unseen, it's in the air. You can feel it. There's too many messages coming out of like Shotzi and her promo and BFAB's promo. And you can tell it's in the air. I think they knew releases were coming. I don't know that they knew who they were. And so then for Zelina to come out and say, I want to defend my title against Dakota, I was like, it just feels to me that she's saying that because she's worried Dakota might be on the chopping block. I actually cut that out, right? I cut that out because I didn't think that I could prove it enough. It was just a theory. I don't really think this was the WWE news folder. It's a bit too wishy-washy, so I cut it out. And it doesn't matter because obviously the bigger focus is that unfortunately Dakota has been released, but I think there was a real vibe. I think there was something in the air. I think they knew that releases were going to happen. So Kaden and Katana, gutted. I really like those guys. Dakota, I mean, look, I'm going to be gutted for all of them, right? I don't want anyone to lose their jobs. So, let's make that clear. But Kaden and Katana, I think I can understand they're not looking for proper women's tag teams. Dakota, I think she's just been surpassed, if you will, because of her time away, her injury and everything. Braun, I think, is a little bit of a head scratcher because you would think that they would want to keep him around. You would think that it would be a case that they would want to do more feuds with him, And then Shayna Baszler is the other one that's been released a couple of minutes ago. And she is probably not a surprise either, to be honest. I don't think that Pure Fusion Collective, she's been on the sidelines for a long time. She's been on the sidelines a long time. Could you do something with her? Yes. Is it something WWE would be interested in doing? I don't think so. I think what you would have to do with her is make her the badass sort of MMA. I'm going to rip your limbs off. Oh my God, here's Shayna. And I think there is a way of presenting it, but I think the margin for success is very thin. I think we saw that with Ronda. That kind of badass where, Shayna is feared by everyone. It's a lot of work to get that to work, to be honest, because you need all the other talent to be scared of Shayna. Like, you need Shayna's name to be mentioned, and you need everyone to be scared of her. And that's a lot to put on other people, right? She needs to be someone that goes in and, rips off limbs and, is just a badass. And, someone does an open challenge and she comes walking out, everyone's like terrified. She is a good mat-based wrestler, but that does not fly in WWE. Timothy Thatcher struggled because he's a good mat-based wrestler, didn't make it out of NXT. I think Pete Dunne has struggled more on the main roster because he is a very mat-based, intricate joint manipulation type guy. Just doesn't work on the main roster. It's not what the kids are looking for. It's more showy, isn't it? It's more bigger movements than just like this kind of intricate, like putting on a Kimura or something like that. If you're going to apply it, then you've got to really present it very big. And I just don't think that I don't think she was a brilliant promo. I think that it was going to be a lot of work to present her the way she needed to be presented. I think the margin for success was going to be quite narrow. And I think that she is a great talent, but I don't know that WWE is the right fit for her. I think they did a great job of her in NXT, and main roster pretty much from the start has just been rubbish for about 5 years. I mean, if you was to talk about the highlights of Shayna Baszler, it might be like her kicking Ronda out of WWE, but outside of that, what else would you point to? I mean, it's just, Chupar said, why have Strowman when they have McAfee wrestling rolling eyes? Yeah. I mean, the thing I'll say about Pat wrestling is that I'm obviously not a fan of that, and don't worry, I'm not going to moan and rant, right? So I know people are like, please, let's not go there, right? I understand. But I'm just going to make a point, and it's actually a little bit of a positive point, right? I think they want someone that's going to get destroyed. I think they want someone that's going to be like smashed around. I think the way I see that match going is I see it being not 50-50, but I see it being like back and forth. Obviously, Gunther will pull ahead. And then I think once he is ahead, he'll stay ahead and he'll start beating down on Pat, right? And then I think what you'll get is you will get a bit of a Jimmy massacre. And I think that will serve the purpose in the sense of it will get Gunther here a little bit of aura back. It will do the rounds on the news channels, right? There could even be bloods. I mean, I promise you, if I was booking that match, there would be blood, right? So I think there could even be bloods. And I could honestly see it being a case that Pat gets stretchered out after that. Bloody, beaten, battered. And I think he'll lose, but it'll be one of those where it's to try and gain respect. I fully expect people to go, do you know what? Respect to him for that, right? That's what I expect after that match. Is I expect people to say respect. So, and someone may need to make the save. And there's been theories that it could be Goldberg that comes down and makes the save. There's been theories that it could be a few people actually that could come down and make the save, but that it could lead to whatever's going to actually be next. So this is just a bridge to get us to where we need to get to. I certainly do not expect that match to be 50. Do not expect it to be a case that Braun is that Gunther is losing it or anything like that. I think the play is let's make it a little competitive at the start so you don't look like a right.
That's okay.
I genuinely don't think, oh my God, is 6 going to get. I don't feel that way. But it's just, it's horrible. I'm obviously really sad for all of them. I'm really sad for Kayden and Katana. I'm really sad for those girls. But to be honest, I think that it might be one of those situations where they've looked at them and gone, well, we don't want actual tag teams. And we can't have those girls on their own because they're a bit small. And, we're finding it hard anyway with some of the girls we've got. Like, it's been really hard to get Zelina to a title. And even when she got to the title, there was plenty of people that weren't crazy about it. And I think looking at Katana, looking at Kayden, to be honest, I think the only way they were going to succeed was going to be in a tag team. And I think if they don't want that tag team, I think, that's probably why. The alternative would be a faction. But again, if they don't want that faction, I don't think those girls are going to go on their own. It's so difficult, isn't it? It's so hard because they're good. They're a really good tag team. I wish there was another brand. I wish there was like an all women's brand or some way that we could support them. They'll be a great pickup though. I'm sure they'll stay as a team. So yeah. Cora Jade has just tweeted out, "I've got a lot of free time on our hands. See you soon." Thankful for the childhood dreams I got to live out. I'll have a lot to say. Cora Jade is making noises like Cora Jade might have gone. That's not been confirmed though, has it? So if we've lost those main roster stars, just got a lot of free time on our hands. What, maybe has Riley gone as well? There's a picture of Blair Davenport, who we know was already released, Cora Jade, and Riley Osborne. So, right, officially, Braun, Shayna, Kaden, Katana, Dakota, but we might be seeing Cora Jade released. And maybe Riley Osborne from down in NXT. I don't think they would put tweets out just to get attention at this time. It's too serious. So that definitely does not look good. I'm sure that Dirt Sheets are looking at that right now, seeing what's yeah, Sean has just literally 34 seconds ago said it looks like Cora Jade as well. But I don't think he's heard that news. I think he's just reacting to what the message that she's put out. Cora Jade being released would be a pretty big deal. Dakota Kai's tweeted, shiz, here we go again. You know that GIF from Grand Theft Auto? Yeah, a couple of minutes ago, news coming through about their release. Cameron said, "Days, what are the chances Goldberg will cost Gunther back?"
And Bernard got away. You know, those are the two I wish Bernard is impossible. Let's face it.
He would go.
I think it's important to know here too. So many critics have called Heel to get a new trainer and eliminate his guy.
Yeah, I think there's a chance someone gets involved. I really
great right now, and I think his dad is giving some sound advice.
Really good advice between the rounds. Really good.
I mean, they might do it just to add more fuel to that feud, mightn't they? You know, they might do it just to add more fuel to that feud. But
well, there are over the long history of the sport.
What's Meechin tweeting? I think Meechin has just tweeted a bit of support maybe for Shayna. She's just tweeted out BRE4L PB&J. I think wasn't BRE4L a little social media faction that she was a part of, and I think it involved Shayna. So I think that's what that's in reference to. Yeah, still no word on Cora. Like nothing. It's not like Sean has come out and said, "Oh yeah, it is Cora." But Cora's put that message out. I mean, I'll read it again. It says, "Thankful for all the childhood dreams I got to live out. I have a lot to say in due time. Stay tuned." Mackenzie said Cora is injury prone, which is the problem. Yeah, I think that she's in that same boat as Dakota. I don't think that it's necessarily a reflection of their work. I just think that we do have a problem with wrestling, which is that once you get those kinds of injuries, you know, do you remember there was a match the other day where it actually had to end? I can't remember who she was facing, but she was in the NXT match and it had to end because she grabbed her leg and it felt like there was an issue there, and we just ended the match. She said after that it wasn't her knee. Her knee's fine. I think she said it was something to do with like her concussion or something like this or something along those lines. But I mean, she couldn't complete a match the other day on NXT, and she has wrestled since then. She was the partner for Roxanne in Deliver. But yeah, I think injury prone is not a harsh label to put onto Cora Jade. So it's not a reflection of her work. And again, that's a sad truth, isn't it? Your heart can be 1000% into this. Your heart can be into it. You could work every hour of every day. And you know, life is just not fair. Life is just not fair. There's too many tangibles. There's too many things out of your control. Those people that make it, they make it because they work hard, or you know, they make it for various reasons. But life has been kind to them people as well, because there are many people that work just as hard, that put in just as much effort, that don't get the breaks, or you know, get like an injury during that journey, and that's it, end of the road. And I do think that Dakota and Cora have potentially suffered from that. Jake said Wyatt 6 to turn heads tonight, says Jake. Maybe. I wouldn't put much stock into that. I mean, there'll be stuff on this show, won't there? And whatever they do tonight, they're going to want to do and make sure that they kind of cover it. I mean, you do the releases now because it's an hour before the show. So you do it now so that, yeah, the show covers it. But whatever's on the show will cover it. I mean, obviously I want to do a video on it because, you know, there's people that are getting back from work and people that won't have heard. But I don't want to do a video right now because obviously we're still in a situation where we don't quite know if that's it. If that feels like it, doesn't it, for the main roster? I mean, we haven't heard anything in a hot minute, but the Cora Jade one is a bit confusing. Eddie Thorpe has tweeted like, peace out. Let me show you what I'm looking at. Oh, I've still not fixed that, have I? I forgot about that. I forgot that I'd not fixed that. Yeah, that's what Eddie Thorpe has it's good actually. You might not have seen that. I always say I've got all these flipping cupboards of. I always have Roman Reigns over there, but I have all these cupboards of CDs and DVDs at the side of me, and like I've got, how many have I got? This. What can you see? You can see 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 10 of them. There's 2 that look exactly like that going all the way down. That's what your flipping life looks like if you work in entertainment retail for 15 years and you get discount. That money goes back into the company in flipping DVDs and CD form. Right next to bits. Let me just float around for a second. Feel a bit big actually. Don't mind it. Yeah, this was 43 minutes ago, but I don't know. Is this going to be about Cora Jade? Yeah. Cora Jade. So they're saying that it appears another has gone. A lot about
what kind of shot?
Cora Jade has been.
Oh man, well, you know, Boots is not that strong of a fighter like Crawford at 47.
I mean, Sean, not sure. 8 minutes ago said it looks like Cora has as well. So 8 minutes ago, I don't think Sean was 100%. He just said it looks like Cora has gone. Per Fightful. Let's have a look at Fightful. It looks like Cora. Well, I've got a little bit of a problem with that because I don't think Fightful are saying Cora's gone. I think they're saying it looks like Cora has gone, which is very different to Cora has gone. I mean, that message there obviously suggests that she's gone. Look, this is a perfect glimpse into wrestling news. If you're not familiar with how wrestling news works, there are several people that put news out, one of them being Sean Ross Sapp, right? And I feel like we can see this whole story. So there's Cora Jade saying, I'm thankful for all the childhood dreams I got to live out. I've got a lot to say in due time. Stay tuned, right? Sean Ross Sapp said, it looks like Cora's gone. And it does. But then that seems to get translated to Fightful saying that she has gone. When I just think that there's a difference there between what's actually being said. What are you doing?
Nothing. I accidentally closed out of it.
Huh?
I accidentally closed out of it.
Oh. Yeah, that's the latest. That's the latest. That's the Eddie Thorpe one. Peace out. Wow. Wow. Gigi released the My Care. She's fine, says Davids. Yeah, awful news. Evil Twin, Dora, Explorer, Jade released, not Cora. Mike said record profits. Well, we knew this was coming. I mean, we knew this would come because we knew that they would part ways with people. They always do. It's felt like it. This isn't shocking me. because I really feel like this has not come out the blue. It's after WrestleMania. People have been putting like messages out. To be perfectly honest with you, I am actually quite surprised how short the list is. But obviously that list is ever growing. We've just heard about Gigi. And to be honest, I think they will want this done before SmackDown begins. I think they will want this done. So yeah, they're not going to want this to, I think, drag into the show. So maybe we're done with like main roster and now we're just going through NXT. But saying that, if Eddie Thorpe heard like 40 odd minutes ago and Cora Jade heard about half an hour ago, I don't know if there is any order to how they're contacting people. Chelsea is going to be the big name. Oh no, they love Chelsea. Why didn't they wait until tomorrow, said Johnny. Well, because tomorrow everyone's off work, everyone's off school. There's going to be a lot more people around on social media. I mean, I'd imagine social media is at its busiest on a Saturday. You do it at this time to bury the news, don't you? I mean, really, what you want is you want to get this news out there, and then you want to very quickly distract people with this show. It's a dirty tactic, but it's one of those. I mean, some of these are going to be that they've not renewed the contracts. So some of these are going to be not just releases; they're going to be that the contract was coming up. Now, obviously, I have not seen information yet as to who those people are, but some of it is going to be that they've not renewed the contract. That I feel very different about that, to be honest, than I do a release, because if let's say you signed with WWE, right, or I signed, and you signed a 5-year deal, and you're going to get paid $200,000 a year, $300,000 a year, $500,000 a year, whatever it might be, over the next 5 years, yeah, you are surely not going to look beyond that, right? You'd be an idiot too. In my mind, I've got 5 years, 500,000. I'm going to work my ass off, and I'm going to make sure I can get a new contract. Okay. Now, if I got released during that time, I would be devastated, and I have a big problem with that, because I think if you sign a 5-year deal worth 500,000 a year, that's $2.5 million over that deal, right? You could sort of understand someone thinking to themselves, let's go buy a $500,000 house. Yeah. Because I'm going to be getting 2.5 million. I've signed the contract. So let's go and buy that house. Let's go and get a car. Let's go and get a $500,000 house. Let's go and get a car. And, you might spend that quite quickly, because a house is expensive, a car is expensive. And so you could sort of understand a chunk of that money going very, very quickly. But it's okay, because you know what's coming in, you know how much you've got, right? If you ring that contract, I mean, it is not just disappointing that you've lost your job, but from a financial point of view, it could really put you in a very difficult position, couldn't it? Like, it could put you in a position of, we need to sell the house and downsize and all that sort of stuff. And obviously then you've got to figure out, well, where can I go to make money now? Like, because my time with WWE has just come to an end. I mean, it is true, you can't count your chickens before they've hatched. But equally, you do need to buy a place to live, and you do need a car to get around, and you do need these things. So I think those budget cut releases, where people were getting cut in the middle of their contracts, I think they're appalling. I think they're absolutely appalling. I think they are devastating. I feel different when someone's coming to the end of their deal. I don't think there is any guarantee that you are going to get a new deal. There's never a guarantee, right? If you think that and you presume that you are, that's on you. I think there's no guarantee you're going to get a new deal. So I'll be interested to know how many of these are during the contract, or how many of these are just, we're not going to renew your contract, right? I'll be interested to know which what was what. because I do feel different about both of those. Okay, PW Nexus said NXT talent released. Gigi, Cora, Eddie Thorpe, Riley Osborne. This is on top of the main roster cuts. More could be announced soon. That's coming from PW Nexus. Now, I don't know if they've managed to get that confirmed, but or if they're just reading the same tweets that we're reading or seeing, but that's what they've just said about NXT releases. Steve said WWE should have tried the dancing Lance Storm gimmick on Shayna Baszler before releasing her, said Steve. Mackenzie said if Gigi is gone, where does that leave Tatum? Well, on her own, I would imagine. Tatum is going to be obviously no longer in the tag team with Gigi. I mean, I don't know what this means for JC. Perhaps she's going to be in a little team there, but I can only repeat what I've said before, and that is I don't think they're looking for dedicated women's tag teams. I really believe this is why we got rid of those belts in NXT. I think we got rid of the belts in NXT because we don't want NXT making women's tag teams. Look, we've just broke up Lash and Jakara. We've just broke them up as well. Like, really, the message is very clear. Don't bother doing women's tag matches. Don't bother creating women's tag teams. We don't need them. The only reason that we've got women's tag belts on the main roster is we'll just shove singles wrestlers together when we've got nothing else for them to do.
All right, Antonio, let's take a look at
Shayna,
highlights from
we don't know what to do with
against
them.
Arnold Barbosa.
And we'll
Seems
make
to have
it
been a showcase
and we've got some
for
belts that can go
Lopez
after.
and his
But
natural
it ain't
talent
a division
and
that
consummate
WWE cares
multiple
about.
skills.
It's not a division that's at the moment going to be producing British Bulldogs, Heart Foundation, Nasty Boys, Natural Disasters, Legion of Doom, Hardys, Dudleys. That is not the vision. I really believe the vision is, don't know what to do with wrestler A and wrestler B. Let's shove them together and there's some belts you can go after.
Mo Lopez.
And that
It was a
attitude,
homecoming tonight,
you might
and
remember,
took care of business.
is the attitude that really frustrated Sasha and Naomi. And I think Sasha in particular wanted to kind of make those belts mean more than they did a few years ago. And I think she kept facing resistance to that because that's not the vision of the company, and this is what led to what partly led to her walking out of the business. Because I think she was very frustrated that the women were not being given better, like tag titles. Better, like, you know, those tag titles weren't being booked better. Because when they walked out, I believe they were the tag champions.
Swarming and swamping on Barbosa.
Naomi and Sasha.
72.
Because again, we didn't need either of them around the top titles at the time. And we didn't have Intercontinental in the United States.
The
So what did
32.
we do?
Wow,
We
what
shoved
can
them
you say?
together.
All those numbers tell you that he won the fight. Complete. Now let's go
So,
to
yeah, there's really not much future
Michael Butler
if
for
you
the
are
official
in
decision.
a women's tag team down in NXT.
Good.
Days, how are you? I've got a question that's been going around. It's a two-parter. Or have you heard about the releases, Edward? Because I feel like your two-parter question. What's happening right now? Eddie Thorpe has been released. That PW Insider saying that. Cora Jade seemingly confirms her release. That might be it at the moment. Dr. Pina said in good news, my new adult novel, Funk Days Tools, is out. It's all about Days getting his ass ate, his nips twisted, and then spit roasted by Brotus and Lord Tennyson. It's a good night, that was. That's not a novel. That's my autobiography. Triple A said, Days, you are in charge of creative. Who is your next United States champion, Intercontinental champion, world heavyweight?
Better not be smoking in there with her.
I don't know. I'm not really focused on that right now, but I'm a bit more focused on these releases. Just because I'm wondering if anyone else is coming galaxy burn. So that's what Shane has just tweeted out. Nikita Lyons is trending. To be honest with you, this is the dark side of it, really. This is where now people start speculating, you know, and this is where like names start getting mentioned, like Shotzi, like Nikita, and yeah, I obviously I don't want to play that game. I'm not interested in speculating as to who might be getting released. I really hope that is it, of course. And to be honest with you, if that is it for this year, honestly, that's probably a shorter list than I was anticipating. Probably a shorter list than I was anticipating. But obviously, you don't know if phone calls are still going to be happening. You don't know if they might get back on it. Like, you know, this could just be the first round. JP said, I never liked Cora. Gigi seemed lazy in the ring to me time to time. Okay. Edward says, I have heard about them. I don't want to talk about them because it's sad, but I know that we're not going to avoid it. Did your dad manage to retire? No, it didn't go through. They've said that they're going to do it next week. Apparently there was an issue with the funds and the dad's like, so that caused a lot of disruption this week, and sadly did not go through. Dave, hi. As first reported, Tommy has turned heel on Stewie. If you and Tommy was a tag team, that would generate the most amount of nuclear heat. Shout out to you, Hannah. Baccarai said, Days, does this mean they have big plans for Zoe? It's baffling how they release Shayna and not Zoe. I think what it shows is that they have Zoe in their thoughts. If you release one person, but then saying that, it was only earlier this year that they released Sonya and they didn't release Shayna and they didn't release Zoe. I wonder if Shayna just reached the end of her contract. I wonder if they could have released Shayna, but they were like, her contract's up in a few months. Let her have those few months. We'll get past Mania and, you know, we just won't renew.
You know, wake
and
up,
I wonder if that is why she didn't get released earlier this year.
I hope so.
And the problem is then, that also means there might be some other people that have got their contracts coming up soon that could be released now, but they're going to just let the contract run out, which is the good thing to do. I fully support that. But it means that, you know, we could get some cuts, you know, later in the year as well. There's a few contracts. I don't know that all contracts are kind of up at the same time, you know. I think they're all just dotted throughout the year. So that's a difficult one. Because we got rid of Sonya, who was in that group, but we didn't get rid of the other two. So it sort of felt like there was something there to do with the other. We could do something with those guys. But now we've got rid of Sonya. Now we've got rid of Shayna, sorry. Which is a bit strange, isn't it? It's a bit strange to do it this way. I think, listen, for as long as Zoe is still with that company, that says to me one of two things. We're either waiting for her contract to expire, or, yes, they see something in her and they believe that they can do something with her. I mean, clearly not being cut is a good thing, isn't it? It's a positive thing. But there is that sort of dark side that it could be the contract. She was already buried before Triple H took over, says Brody. WWE has released Braun due to political differences.
Alright, hey Shiloh. Not surprised?
I'm disappointed. I couldn't stop laughing at Triple T and AEW renew. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But
Hungry
I
Hippo.
thought that was fun as well.
Hungry Hippo.
I like that so much. I put it out as its own little separate thing straight after. And I was like, that's definitely something I don't want buried in the channel. That's too good. Yeah, it was very good.
Hungry Hippos.
It's not the flipping. I'm not in a very fun mindset right now, as I'm sure.
Yes,
Uh,
hungry?
someone said that's the difficult part of having a thriving developmental brand. When it is time to bring up a new crop, some spots have got to open up. Right, okay, there's 25 minutes to go, and I feel like I need to do a quick 5-minute video because it sort of feels like it. I mean, I know I'll do it, and then others, names will come through. That's like law. I mean, I hope that's not the case.
Come here, Snickers.
Of course, I hope that's not the case for them, not for me, but for them.
You eat your food?
But, yeah, I feel like we need to do just a real quick video. Could have done it a little earlier than this, but it does just feel like it was worth waiting because unfortunately there has been more that have kind of come through.
Shiloh.
I might repeat what I've just said quite a bit here, so you'll have to bear with me for a few moments, but I'll try and make it as quickly as possible. Sad news that WWE have now started to release talent. This news coming through whilst we were live for our SmackDown live stream, and to be honest with you, it's not surprising. This is something we'd spoken about in Unseen, and we've kind of gone over the fact that there was something in the air. It really felt like a lot of messages were being put out there, a lot of promos, a lot of emotion, a lot of reflection, a lot of tweets, a lot of cryptic things. It just felt like it was that time of year. And as you said, there was something in the air where I think a lot of the wrestlers knew that this was likely coming. To be honest with you, I didn't expect it to be today. And some of the names that have obviously emerged are obviously surprising as well. We've got the list, or the current list. I mean, it is worth stressing at the start that there could be more than this, but it's been a little while since we've heard of any other new names, so it feels like this might be it for now. I don't think they're going to want to release people while SmackDown is actually airing, so that's why I'm trying to get this done just before SmackDown begins. So let's go through and we'll just quickly talk about why we think these people may have found themselves getting released. So Sean Ross Sapp, 55 minutes ago, so it's still not even been an hour since the first names were announced, right, at the time of recording this. But Kayden and Katana, and we've just said during our live stream that I'm of the opinion they don't want women's tag teams, proper, actual women's tag teams. I think that the women's tag belts on the main roster are just a way of getting two singles wrestlers that we don't really have anything for. For example, you could look maybe at Piper Niven and Alba Fire. We don't really have much for them in the singles division. So we've put them together and we've made the Secret Service. And so that gives them something to do, and there's some belts that they can go after. We don't really need Liv around the titles at the moment. And Raquel is obviously, not long back from the illness that she had to try and overcome. And so, they've kind of been put together. I don't think WWE want actual women's tag teams. This is why we don't have NXT tag titles for the women. So I think it was always going to be a little difficult for Kayden and Katana. But to be honest with you, I was kind of hoping this was going to be the start of actual women's tag teams. Now that we've got the Women's Intercontinental and the Women's United States, I was hoping this would be the beginning of a proper division, but news has come through, sadly, they've been released. And I think if they're not going to have them as a team, I think there's just so much talent. I think they would really struggle as single stars. I think these girls they work so well together. It's a great pickup for someone, TNA, AEW, whoever, right? They're going to get a great team there. Dakota Kai. This one's going to be a bit of a surprise because she's a pretty big name, to be honest. I just think that she's missed a lot of time. She's very injury prone. She's a great talent. Yeah. But I just think that the problem is if you sit on the sidelines for 12 months and, you keep picking up injuries, there are women coming into this business all the time that are coming for your spot. And, we've got the likes of Julia, Stephanie, Jordan Grace. There's some amazing women, Kalani Jordan, Jada Parker. I mean, we sing the praises of that NXT women's division all the time. And, that puts pressure on the main roster. You are fighting for your spot. So if you're not getting regular TV time, if you're not developing your character, if you're not developing that relationship with the crowd, and again, not because it was Dakota's fault, but because I think the injury has really sidelined her. I think that the absence has really hurt, and life is just not fair. And that's not an easy thing to say, but it is the truth. You can put all the work in. You can work just as hard as Rhea Ripley. You can do more hours in the gym than her. You can go to promo classes and do absolutely everything you can. But if you're going to have injury setbacks, and if creative are going to just struggle to find something for you for some reason, maybe you was born not quite as tall as Rhea Ripley, not quite as imposing as say Rhea Ripley, then you might find yourself just struggling with creative. And I just think she's a victim of these things. I think had she have got going and, we got like a bit of momentum and merch sales were kind of clicking, I think we could have found a way with Dakota. She's really, really unfortunate. She's really unfortunate. I feel so sorry for all of these people. There's no one here that I, would feel good about seeing released. I mean, it's just horrific. All of it is horrific. But that's the sad truth, isn't it? The more you bring people through your developmental, the more you've got to say goodbye to people. You can't keep everyone. And Braun Strowman, a surprise. To be honest, I didn't expect Braun to be on this list. But Braun, I think, is someone that's been released before. I think they struggle with Braun. I think he's got a purpose. He's big and he's great for, being a mystery partner or a mystery opponent. I think he's great if you're going to do him and Bronson Reed. I mean, that feud was so entertaining. I mean, I really enjoyed that. I think there is real value in having him in the company. So I don't know if there's any issue behind the scenes, but I think it's one of those where he's very hard to book on a consistent basis because he is big, he is a monster. And, if you see that on a regular basis, it kind of loses its aura a little bit. And I wonder if that was a little bit of a challenge they had. But I would say out of all of them, this one was the most surprising to me up until this point. Shayna Baszler, not a massive surprise. She struggled for TV time. I think she probably had a sneaky suspicion that things were not going to look good if there were going to be releases. But there's no word that they've released Zoe Stark, which is obviously great news. I mean, we don't want people released. So hopefully they see something there and they can do something with her. Shayna, an excellent talent. But it's hard when you're a very technical wrestler for that to work on the kind of main stage because, moonsaults and all these big spots, suicide dives, that's not really Shayna's forte. She's more ripping off limbs and twisting joints. And I don't know that works as well on like a WrestleMania stage. And I think that was always a bit of a struggle. So I think there was a way of making Shayna work as a character. I don't think WWE ever came close to finding it though. So Sean Ross Sapp saying these are the releases and the departures: Braun, Caden, Katana, Shayna, Dakota. We may hear that some of these were just that contracts weren't renewed. And I hope it's that, to be honest. I on the live stream said I think there's a big difference between being released and your contract just not being renewed. So
but yeah,
I think
ultimately,
I'd like to think that these contracts just naturally reach their conclusion, but I bet that there were some actual releases here. People that still had quite a bit of time on their contracts. I really hate when they do that.
Maybe they figure something out.
Things got a bit confusing. So this was 44 minutes ago, but 32 minutes ago, Corey Jane said, "I'm thankful for all the childhood dreams that I got to live out. I have a lot to say in due time.
Another one that was healthy and used.
So Cora posting that, which obviously heavily suggests that she had been let go as well. She followed it. There was another tweet here that just got a lot of free time on our hands. See you soon. So obviously we know that Blair Davenport was already
know,
left
she wasn't currently,
WWE.
but always
Obviously,
seemed
it seems like
to get injured
Cora has
at the
gone,
worst possible
and it
time.
sort of teases
And
that
injury was
Riley
a big part
Osborne
of this, right? We look at
may
Cora Jade,
have gone
injured
as
a couple
well.
times majorly.
Seems
We're
like
told
dirt
by
sheets are really
Michelle
struggling to
on
get that confirmed at the
over the
time of
last
recording
while
this.
for injury as
It
well.
seems like
So maybe
these
that's part of
tweets
it.
are the tweets everyone's looking
And I
at
just
and
do
using
think
as
it's hard
proof
for the
that
women right now. That's how you said it.
Cora and
It
Riley
is
is the
super
party.
competitive, right? If they're planning to
Here
move
was Dakota
Julia
with
up,
the
Stephanie
Grand
up, like
Theft
if Jordan
Auto.
beats,
Oh, shiz. Here we go again.
Jordan beats Stephanie, and they push
yeah.
Stephanie up because
So
they're already
that
playing
was
the back and
Dakota
forth game.
40
Roxy,
odd minutes ago.
I mean, now we're
There's a new version of this, so both Cora and Eddie have posted any thought posters.
I am a little surprised
like,
with
peace
Gigi
out
just
kind of
because her and Tatum
indicating
seem
they've
to
been
get a groove going.
released.
But do they
New
release
version of that,
Gigi?
though,
And now
probably
it's
that would
Shotzi
take
and
it to the new
Tatum
version.
we see together.
Both
We haven't
Cora
seen
and Riley
Shotzi much.
posted indicating
Well, I saw
as
some,
well
well,
as
she was the
Riley
first one
Osborne.
actually that a lot of people
So the
thought
new
because the
update of
video
that
she
is the
put out
same,
on
we just
Instagram
added
and everything,
Riley
that
Osborne's
she
name.
was
Who's
getting
that
released,
guy
or
then?
knew she was released.
Right, then we
because
got
she
this
was very much
29
talking
minutes
about,
ago.
like,
Gigi
what
Dolan
comes
has
next
been
and
released. This was a
da-da-da-da-da.
shock.
And
She
if
was
there's
kind
any
of in a
other
tag
names
team
that are
down in
still popping off,
NXT.
let us know in the
with
chat, because I've
Tatum
seen
Paxley.
Shotzi being thrown around. and
But
that's
I
where
mean,
it's
I don't
at,
think
you know.
that was really.
Yeah, I'm just slowly kind of scrolling
Well,
through.
that's not a
seeing if
long
anything
term
pops
thing.
up.
I don't think the main
I'm
roster
still trying
wants
to,
women's
you know,
tag teams.
Stay
So
here with
if they
you.
Well,
struggle
that's
to
been there,
find
yeah.
someone
Well,
for her
that's
to do
been-
as a solo
On a quick
star,
side, what just popped up
I
on my
think that's
Twitter.
where we've hit.
Anyone
the
else that
button.
maybe you
For
guys
some
can offer
reason,
some
they
insight.
seem to have struggled to have found
$99.99
a way of
to
using
be
her
tech
as a
buddies
solo
with
star.
Mercedes Monet.
Oh,
Which,
yes, let's
I
talk
think
about
I think
this.
she's a good
It's not
talent.
legit.
But
Yes,
I
that
suppose
is
it's just
legit.
hard,
If
isn't
you
it,
go
when
on
you've
her
got
website,
Kalani and Sol
it is there.
and
Now, granted,
Julia and Jordan Grace and Stephanie and Jada Parker, and the list goes on and on and on. The talent in NXT is really high.
And
I think that we're seeing maybe some good talent departing as a result of it being so crowded.
Right.
So here, this is from PW
No, it makes me
Nexus.
laugh.
So
And
Gigi
again,
Dolan, they're I think kind of confirming. They might
They
be
were the
just
ones
going
that
off
gave us
these
the
kind
idea
of
that
tweets that we
they
saw as
brought
well.
in Pepper
Gigi
Potts
Dolan, Cora
and
Jade,
Pepper
Eddie
Potts,
Thorpe,
and
and
not
Riley
Potts,
Osborne. This
Now,
is
they're
on
both
top of
being
those main roster
because
cuts.
the only one
More
with Curry
could be
control.
announced.
Shut up.
And then
Shut up,
an hour
lying,
ago,
lying,
Shayna Baszler
fuck
saying
off,
no
you
one
don't
can offer
But
what I have to
yeah, I mean,
offer. Reality,
ultimately, I have
let
no
the
idea where I'm going with that
galaxy.
anymore.
Well, I'll go.
What I want to do is I just want to have a look
People are
at
talking
the
about
latest
Go
and
ahead.
just see
Yeah, sorry, get back around.
if there's
You don't
anything
get it.
else.
Like, I don't know if she knows, but
35
there's a lot of ladies
seconds
offering
ago, there sadly is more releases that
99,
coming
and I
out.
think the perks are higher.
Jakara Jackson
Not
has
the
been
same
released
shot.
by
Gotta be same
WWE.
shot.
That coming from PW Insider. She was a member of the group Megaforce.
But,
She was in a tag team with Lash Legend, and they only split those two the other day. I didn't get the sense that she knew that the end was coming for her when we were watching NXT.
How many people?
We
I
were quite
wanna see a
surprised that
screenshot
team
like
had
that.
split
Like, if
actually.
it
But
says how many
again,
members
I
are
don't
signed
think
up
they're
for that,
looking for women's
I would
tag
love to
teams.
see, like,
So
who was paying
Lash,
100
I think,
bucks
is
a month.
someone that they see as being,
I'm sure it's not the
potential.
first record.
Jakara, I would have thought you could have done something with her, to
Right.
be honest.
Yeah. I
But
was gonna say
again,
it.
Oh,
I'm just going to
no!
repeat what I said about
No!
Julie, and that is, I think that
What?
there is
Jakara
just so
Jackson is
much
no longer
great
with
talent
WWE.
in NXT,
All right.
certainly in that
Sean,
women's
whichever one of
division.
you.
I mean, it
Okay,
really is
fine,
one of the
ready?
best women's
Right now,
divisions
we're
in the
going
world.
here. Because
That I
no,
think
no,
there's
no.
some really good pickups here for TNA. Maybe even
Why
AEW.
though?
I'm sure Tony Khan is keeping a very close eye on these
Last
releases,
legend,
and you know, I think there's potentially something there with Jakara.
They always snip
But
the title,
really
never got
sad
there.
to
They
hear that
were
we've got
always shooting for the
another
winners.
release there. Just having a little scroll down to see if there's
TNA and WWE and
anything else in regards to
They
the
were so fucking
releases.
good.
I think that
Really
might be
close, and they were getting a lot of love.
everything that we've
They were-
got.
They were the best
Yeah,
women's
but
tag
we
team
went
that
quite
got.
a while there
Best
without
women's
having a
tag team
release, and we've just had news come through about Jakara.
But
That certainly implies
best women's
that we're
tag
not
team
done
going.
with these
Yeah, I mean,
releases. It might be that we
They're up
continue to
100%.
have
I mean, I
more that
love,
come
I
through.
love these.
Obviously,
I get it,
hopefully
I
not,
get
but
it.
that's the latest when it comes to
Uh,
new releases.
Are
So,
the releases
thanks for
cool?
watching.
You don't know
Appreciate
what
it.
is.
I'll see you again next time.
Zappy?
Bye for now.
316, 40K
That was way
SummerSlam
longer than I
tickets that we
expected,
do with
but
these
who's
releases.
coming through there is
Yeah, but one has
usual.
nothing to do with the other.
About,
Unfortunately,
Jakara
that's just
being
the
released.
way of doing business.
this.
That is
And I
a
know
real
people are
shame.
gonna look at it on the
honestly. I
outside,
really
yeah, they're
liked,
raking
I
in more
liked
money
her
than
team
ever.
with
Every
Ash
pay-per-view
Evans.
Hunter comes out to, this is
I
our
thought they
biggest
were
gate
good
ever.
together. I mean, they
But
went
again,
over to
Like, this is where I
they
know
did
316
go over to
is one of the people that have said the opposite of this, as far as
Nash has
maybe
her
let
under
people go,
Jade. She's a
too many people on the
powerhouse.
roster. Okay, you can't do
Um,
both. This has
Carl
nothing to do
Jackson
with the
really
bottom
said
line of the
Jason,
40K for SummerSlam tickets, which I've never ever
Now it makes
confirmed.
sense why
I actually have
Medical
a
got
seating
split
chart
up.
where
Said
everything but that front row were like 500, 6,000.
Jakara was a
There's
future
very-
star.
Well, no, the
said,
whole thing,
Jade.
the 40K thing is a whole.
He said
package,
Austin
and you get
Theory,
shows
no
for
word on
both
Theory.
for
He
both
did put a
nights.
heartfelt message
SmackDown,
out.
Raw, a whole big
Um,
VIP thing. It is a whole package.
Hoopla.
And sold out.
Yeah.
What?
He did
So
put a
they'll be
heartfelt
split, so
message
you're
out.
not going to change that anytime soon. But
But
that's like, I mean, I don't know how
no
you
word
feel.
on
Like,
Theory.
to me,
Oh, so you've
so
said
what
what
they're
I've said.
charging for
I mean,
tickets
that's
or how much
the
money
list
they're
that I
making,
kind of work from.
yeah, that's part of the story.
Austin
But again,
Theory.
for all the fans
Um,
that talked about benching and, oh, where's Natty and where's this one? Okay, we let Dakota Kai go. Now we have
I'm
more
really
TV time
surprised
for
Cora
Natty.
was released. Said
Are
Austin.
you happy?
She's
Oh,
the
then
future
are
of
we
women's
gonna- oh,
wrestling.
why
I
is Natty
expected her
here?
to be
It's not-
NXT Women's
It
Champion.
can't really win.
Honestly, but
But
I
the
think
40K
it really
shouldn't matter.
was
At the end of the day,
injury.
it's-
Had she
about-
not, I mean, she was in quite a good
Ready
place.
for something else.
If you think before
Right.
Stephanie and Julia joined,
Yeah, no, I
Jordan
got
Grace
2 points.
joined,
I'll try and tie them together.
Roxanne
and-
Cora. I mean, Roxanne was ahead of Cora from
But
an in-ring
with
point of
the
view.
99 thing
But it
for
really felt like,
Sasha
you
Banks,
know,
and
they
what
were
we're
good
going to talk
friends.
about
They
40K,
were working
but the other
together. I mean,
companies
you know,
asked
hanging
for
around Roxanne is only a
$100
positive
AI
thing for
bot.
Jen.
That's the big Mercedes
And,
Conan.
you know, I think when
And
she
you're going
turned
to get people to
heel,
sign up for it.
I think we
Yeah, that's
saw
not
that was a
fair,
good
Bruce.
move for Cora. I feel
And
like there was definitely, you know, potential there.
price of
I,
money
I agree with you. I just think she gets
Well,
that
we'll come
injury,
back. I know
and
it'll
I
pop
think
back in your head, but I'll search
she
it
falls
out.
behind.
Folks, we got about 8
I think
minutes to
she
start
falls
the show.
behind.
Obviously,
I
lots
think
going on,
this
lots of
round
breaking
of
news.
releases is
We're
really
going to keep
showing.
talking about the releases.
When
Look,
I
told
look
you to
at
get it.
yeah, exactly. See, Lacey,
Cora,
you can do it.
and
I
I
can
look
do it.
at
Yes, the
Julia
NFL is probably
Hunter,
the most profitable that's ever
those in particular, I see people that have fallen behind a little
Also, maybe it is.
because of injury, and I don't really see it being like. I mean, it could be other factors, of course. I mean, I can't really sit here and say how well they train. Can't really sit here and talk about their personalities, you know, if they're problematic or anything. I don't really want to speculate on that. But there could be. You never know if any of that is playing a part, right? But yeah, no, I look at those and I think that it's probably to do with the
I think it was
injuries that
Austin.
were sustained. Edgar said, when do we see Cody coming back? Apparently the 16th. He's advertised for the 16th. Don said Chikara released. Yeah.
NFL is probably the most profitable that it's ever been in its history right now, but you still got to have a 53-man roster. And it's still one of those.
Okay, based on the list tonight, who do we think will make their name the biggest? Maybe
But
Katana,
they're not
she's
getting
talented.
used, so they're not getting TV time. But I still got to pay them, but they still need to be employed again. We have this same
That's a good
discussion
question.
every year. I'm almost getting sick and tired
I
of saying
think last time
And
Braun
especially
left, he
right
went
now,
and joined up
the
in
race
EC3, didn't
for
he,
pro
to
wrestling
control
is
your
the best
narrative.
probably
He
ever
actually
been.
didn't
or
really go off
open
and do anything.
opportunity for you to go anywhere.
Like
You were
massive.
going to try and halfway at some point. Unless we gave
Oh,
you
yeah.
hit the egg league,
That's a good question.
go through of where everybody could possibly play it.
Yeah, I mean, again, we'll
I
quickly
am
say hello to people.
amazed
Folks, you can get in
that
the
they
chat.
did not
Let us know
do
how
more
you
with
feel about
Riley
the releases.
Osborne.
If you don't
I
know,
really
so I
liked
think we're
Riley
close to
Osborne.
10 now.
So I'm really shocked that they've not done more
And bigger things. I
with
mean,
Riley.
surprisingly, in a lot
Dakota,
of ways.
I think, could
A
go
lot
make
of
a name
ways.
for
But we
herself.
will try and see a
I
little
don't
bit.
know
Many
that
people
she'll-
possible in the next
Depends how
6.5
bad that
minutes.
injury is.
So,
It depends how
Alex, how
she
you
is.
doing?
Is she
Michael,
on
how
a
you
regular
doing?
basis is
Money.
gonna, you know,
I like
time
that. I
off,
like
or
that.
she's gonna have reoccurrences. That's obviously going to be a problem. GG, I saw that we saw what she was like. I
Looking
don't
forward to
know
the return of Alistair
that,
Black
I
versus Miz.
don't know that she
That will
is
happen tonight.
kicks
We
off
haven't even
much
talked about
longer
tonight,
now.
but there's only one
Um,
match now, so we're good.
To be
Randy
honest
Orton's going
with
to be in the
you,
building. I think
I
this
don't
got
think
announced, but I'm
there's
not sure it's been paid
anyone
off.
there that I
And
see
it's
as
on
going on to be a
WWE
major
page.
stuff.
That's all I saw.
Okay,
If we
we're going to
look
go on
at
that
the
one.
releases,
And the business Alistair Black, we're looking forward to this one. Where we have our new favorite segment,
he's
Dave.
been the biggest
Name
person that's
those
gone on
lyrics,
that was
and we
released.
make them up as we go, folks.
Tony Storm.
Well, now more than ever, come out with
Didn't
the
swerve
you
the
don't
youth of his own accord.
double figure.
I don't think he was released.
Too
I
soon,
think
too
he
soon.
left of his own
Maybe
accord.
maybe not. Damien, how you doing? Not for us anyway.
I don't
Mike, how are you? How are you?
I don't know
I mean, a good day to have a good
who's
Friday, buddy.
been released
Friday we worked in
and then gone on to make like a big name for themselves.
Luxio, how you
Daniel
doing?
Bryan, he
Let's
wasn't
go birthday
released. He
weekend.
was
Let's go. Happy early
he
birthday.
was, but it was
On
because he
spot
wanted
birthday.
to.
I don't know when it's falling, but
So
happy
that
birthday to you, sir. Hope you have a wicked one.
a lot of the
Sugar
people
on
that
the
WWE wanted to
Next
keep,
Friday. I
have
heard
gone on
vitamins
to
or
do all right.
Never enough.
but
Let's go.
people that
Kevin, welcome back. Big Nick
WWE
saying hello to everybody. Jason, how you
part
doing?
ways
How you
with.
doing? Eric,
That's that. I
welcome
have to sit down
back.
and have a look to see
Jason
what
again.
everyone's gone on to do.
Love it, love it. ABJ.
I don't think he'll go on to be a big star. I'm not going to make a crazy prediction like that.
We
And
begin in
people
the
hold
chat. I
it.
want to congratulate the
And
Maple
gets-
Leafs.
But I'm just going to say I liked Riley Osborne. I felt like there was a young British bulldog in there. I felt like he was a powerhouse and you could probably put him in a tag team. And I felt like there was something you could work with.
I had a bit of a jump around the road.
So
Oh, I'm sure you
I
did.
liked
That's
him.
why when we
And
got
he
off
was a little
of,
surprised, I
the stream
suppose,
last night, I
because
was doing it for
he
both of
is.
us. Everybody's just,
He's been highly trained. He came from New
No,
Japan.
it's
I
good
think
times,
he could go
but
do something
yeah, we'll see. Florida's
in
going to
New
be
Japan. Eddie Thorpe.
that's a tough one. That's a
Shane
tough one. That's a
Baszler.
tough one.
I think
They have
age-wise,
like,
she's
I
getting
think
on a
they
little
just, you
bit.
know, got a leaf killer.
And I don't say that disrespectfully.
Oh, Marche.
I just mean that she is.
Correct.
You know, it's going to be hard for a promotion to invest in her when there's
I
young
think
talent
Corey's a
around
surprise
that.
because
You
They
know,
were-
they
they
can get
seem
15
so high
years
on
out.
her, but I
You're
think
not
after
going to
a
get
couple of
15 years out of Shane
and
Baszler.
everybody that's come in, I
So
think
age
she's
is a
fallen down
problem,
lower in the
unfortunately,
pack.
in
So,
wrestling.
again,
Because
maybe she
you
was
know,
out there,
they
maybe she
won't
was
try
out
and
somewhere
get
else.
obviously as much time.
Teams up with
As much
Sky
out of their
Blue,
investment
all's
as
well in the
possible.
world.
I don't see anyone there that's going to go on and become like world champion. I feel like Dakota is the one that's the biggest.
Remember, I said this before we went live. I'm like, this is all these people are going over to TNA. This is just their way of being like, here you go, guys. You do not
Mad at. That ain't what I'm mad at.
I might say Dakota
We're
will go
going.
on to do some.
I heard you lost.
Eddie Thorpe, I think, could do
Sean
something.
Reed,
in
welcome
Japan.
back.
And I
Let's
like
go.
Riley Osborne. I saw flickers
TNA's
of
definitely an option
something
for
there,
sure.
and I'm surprised that we let
TNA
him.
is an option. AEW is an option. MLW is an option.
Didn't Braun say he
Yeah, but
wouldn't
then we
work anywhere?
watched a lot of
But
people very
WWE
well.
last time he was fired.
Jack, you talked about Riddle
I
out there
don't.
doing this thing.
I've not seen him.
But yeah, I mean, people
I
will
know
end
that
on
he
their
was
feet,
working
and
with
some people
control
will
your
end up back.
narrative, which was
Right.
something that he
Or
did
Thursday.
with.
Yeah, right. 316. Andy,
There's
how you
something he
doing?
did
See money
with,
got you already. The Geeks God, how are you?
EC3.
Bradley, always a pleasure.
Well,
Kevin,
this has massively derailed stuff, hasn't it? I mean, I do apologise to a degree. I mean, there's been a lot of just me talking and reacting,
Mike,
and
Jose up
you
again.
know, this is
Brandon
obviously
over on
not what we
Twitch. Don't
normally
forget,
do. I
folks, we
normally
have
jump
Twitch
in
and
and get your
Facebook. Go check
thoughts.
those out.
We chat away, but
Anna has
it hasn't
the-
really been a case of just keeping an eye on the
John
news
Chino,
as it's
John
been
Chino.
coming through. So
Ben,
I don't know if
it's more
there's
like you're
anything
off
else
the
that's
team.
come through.
Yeah, again, you're like, all right, you don't want to
Car
spend some people?
release.
Fuck it, we'll clean house.
Gigi said,
Literally.
I'm officially
Literally.
free to work in
Yeah, we'll show
30
you.
days.
NDP, how you doing?
I'm officially
Sir.
free to
Scott
work
Wolford
in
back
30
in. Happy
days.
Friday. Sucks for the time, but it's business. It does suck
Chapman
for the
said, I
time.
always
Nobody
thought
likes to be
that
fired, especially when it's a
Gigi
fire.
Dolan could
If
be a
you're
big
fucking
star,
around
and
and
I
you find
still
out, you
think
get it.
I mean,
But
you never
if
know.
you're
I mean,
doing
I
your job
think that
best
she
you're doing,
is
that's
going to
you.
have
It's a
to.
fucking-
Well,
If
it's
I look
also
at her
very
match quality,
public. I know
it
granted
doesn't-
they're public
yeah,
it doesn't,
personalities
like-
and everything, but I don't exactly think anyone here would
I
run
don't
out have
know.
a
It's not the right conversation.
Uh-oh,
for
that's
guys.
trending
I'm
on
aware of
Twitter.
that.
how they got fired from their
Talking
job.
about who's going to go
Yeah,
off to
that's
be
it,
like a
right?
big star and everything, like
It's not like
it
the
means
dirt
you have to
sheets
sort of analyse their work.
But yeah, hope you have a good weekend.
I never found like Gigi
Jacob,
matches
how
to be
you
like
doing?
mind blowing.
Jose, welcome back
So,
again.
I think
Mike,
that she's
got
a
you.
solid
Simple
wrestler. I
as
think she's a
that.
good
We'll see what
person
they
to
do
have
there.
on a roster.
But
But if we're being
It's,
very honest about
it's in a
who's
wheel,
going to go off
They,
next,
they
we've
killed
got
Manitou, if not
Don't know that there's
Manitou.
too
I'm so
much on
she
that
was
list
just
that
on
jumps out as like
TV
this
this
person
week.
going to be, you know, world
This
champion
week.
and all of that.
They were
I
just
hope
having a-
they
they
do.
just
I hope she
went after
does.
the
I
belt
wish
for
them
TNA.
nothing but the best.
Sunday.
With Art Rebellion.
I wish
Yeah.
them nothing but the best.
Rebellion. I'm so impressed. No, just fucked
Coker
it
and
up.
Eddie, WTF said, well,
Fucked it up.
Gigi was still doing indie matches, says Frankie.
Have my nice
I think Dakota can do some good stuff in the knockout division, says yeah.
We got 1 minute, 1 minute.
Yeah, I
Man,
think Dakota. The only thing with Dakota is obviously we don't know how much the injury is a problem.
OG Taylor.
I mean, we don't know how much that's restricted her or how much it's held her back or,
Always a
know what I mean,
pleasure. Well,
I don't know. Is it just that the momentum
I'm seeing a lot of
was not there
backwards.
and she hadn't quite
Dun,
connected
dun. I
with
think
the
that's almost there.
audience?
Bueller.
Like, there's definitely a fan base for her, so you can't say that she hasn't connected
Yeah, man.
at all. But I think there is a big difference between having like some fans and having
how y'all
you
doing
know, the
tonight, fellas? Got my
wider
youngest school
WWE
successful
universe, like
wrestling
searching for
actively
you,
watching
buying
the show,
your
get ready for
merch.
SmackDown.
Do
Hopefully
you know what I
they
mean?
know
The
it
kind of
over.
support that a Bianca gets, or the kind of support that a Rhea Ripley gets.
Little ones, earmuffs.
I think there's a big difference.
Don't repeat what we say. We're bad.
Yeah, well, I think
she
it's a
never
little
quite
late to
reached
say
that
it's in
level
advance.
because
I
of
think
her
it's
injury.
more just for behind. I don't know what term I was trying to use there.
Tyler said,
what's up,
who has been
newbie?
released?
How you doing? As we are
Well,
about to get started the show.
quite a list
For
of
those
names,
who
to
don't
be
know,
honest,
we will
but
sync up at the beginning of the show. Get in that chat. You can sync up as well if you would like. So you're not behind us or ahead of us. But I
there is
got
a video
something
going
new.
on the channel that goes through the list.
Sarah Jackson.
I can't recall it all off the top of my head,
I got Dan.
but
I have
Dakota,
Ben.
Braun are a couple of big names on there. GG's a big name.
3 seconds.
Here's here's Randy. Okay, we are just starting right now with
Forever.
Let's go,
There's,
let's
Tiffany.
go, folks.
so we are
You can
starting
dial in.
with,
We're gonna
the
watch
actual
this show. It's
now.
gonna be a fun
I
night
wonder
tonight,
if that is
and we are
it.
gonna be together.
Uh-huh.
Let's do this one.
Yeah,
It'll be
Lash
very interesting. Not a
Legends,
lot now. I
reacted
know we're gonna want to
to,
talk a lot
that
about
release.
releases. Keep the chat going. If you want
Always
to talk about
been
something,
and
blow
always
us up. Let
gonna
us know
be
what's on
about
your
that
mind. We'll try and get to
MF
it.
in action.
I think you don't want to miss.
Lash Legend responded.
Well, I want to say Scott, member for 21 months. Outstanding. Love to see it. Good friend of the channel. Man took a picture with live wrestlers with our shirt on.
Okay, there's
So you can hear
Damian
my
Priest
book.
arriving.
He's been technically interviewed by the channel,
Yes, he has.
right?
So shout out to Scott. Scott
Okay, we
dropped
got
10
Solo
bucks.
just
That's
pushing.
Randy Orton coming into the building, Nick.
Randy Orton sends a message to John Cena.
I'm going to come for you and your title.
We're in Des Moines, Iowa. Almost up front.
There's LA Knight.
Des Moines.
People like you up with the money.
You're right, but Spaz for the $10 super
Yeah.
chat.
Okay, so it looks
And
like
Dakota
LA Knight
to
is going to
KO,
open up the show.
JC for the KO tag.
I've got a feeling this is going to be a mid-episode of
TNA
SmackDown,
has
said
been
Jay.
in for a bit, respectfully.
Well,
Riley to expedition would be
It's
awesome.
really tripping. I mean,
WWE Jason. Fair enough. That's not a bad show. He knows someone.
everyone else just not in the mood. I'm just not in the mood.
Does Riley just go to AEW?
I'm not like,
We
I'm
gotta
not like
shove
a
him back,
crybaby
Damian
or anything
Priest
like
in the
that, but
back.
I'm just really not in the
A little
mood.
bit on site
I'm
with
really
Jacob
like,
Fox
you've just
solo.
released a load of people that I really
That's
enjoy.
not a man
I
I would
really
want
enjoy
to run up on.
Hayden and Katana.
No.
I've always enjoyed
Great
watching
man, great man.
Jakara.
He's the
Jakara
gorilla
and Lash, I
versus the
thought
hard
were a
dudes
really
right
good
there.
team.
LA,
I don't
LA
know
Knight
that
just
you
walked
with
by.
any of those people.
just walked by.
Dakota, we never saw loads of her because of her
I
injury.
love, like we're kicking it off. with
Gigi and
Priest.
Tatum with
LA
her.
Knight here tonight, so
Braun
let's
Strowman
go,
and Brock
let's go.
Reed
We'll
was a
put,
really good feud.
a pull up for this one.
It's just like, I don't know, it's kind of
Yeah,
hard
I
now
got
to
Massive
just go,
Thunder
oh,
overhead.
that sucks, let's watch SmackDown,
Lightning
you
and
know?
Thunder. But as we're starting off with LA Knight versus Damian Priest, and again, we talked about this last week, and we got that like solid kind of almost
Sweet
heavy
Sean said, I know what you mean, it is
when
was
it
a
comes
sad
to this
feeling
US
in
title.
the air.
You got Drew, you got David, you got LA Knight, you got this name, you got that name. Maybe you throw a Malachi, Aleister Black in there. Maybe a Shinsuke.
The live
AJ,
crowd
what
are
do you
probably.
think?
Live crowd
Let me
are
hop
chanting
to.
away.
Let me hop to
Hey,
ya.
listen, they paid their money.
Kate, what,
I don't think
I shouldn't have said it in the first place.
Let me talk to you, says LA Knight. So we're starting with LA Knight.
Max Tubes, the new WWE releases are all over. There will definitely be some. Tony's licking his hips paused, and that's just not just
A legitimate question.
I don't
for
like this guy
everybody.
saying Navaldo says.
If you spend all the time saying like they suck, and then all these people are getting released, and the instinct is sign them. I mean, the good news is Tony gets the hot shot again. He hasn't done that for a while. But again, is that the question? Like, do you really want all these people, or are you just?
Did I just get ripped off?
Do you want them just because they got released? That's the question.
I had the match,
Yeah,
and it
you want
didn't
them
go
because
my
you
way.
want
He's
James in
talking
your
about
pocket,
last week when he had the
Yeah.
match and there was
No,
outside
if
interference.
we're going grade school with this type of shit. It's LA Knights soccer game.
So
But if you're playing with your
decided
favorite
to bring
toy and
his
everything like that,
pumpkin
and
head
you decide you
looking
don't want it
ass
anymore. You want to just give it
I
away.
think Charlie said, I'm worried for the White Six and Alexa. I hope they stay away from them.
You use it here, there, and everywhere, and you didn't
Um,
want it
I
anymore.
think
So
maybe I
then
should
if
be
you don't
worried,
want it,
but
I
I'm
want
not
it.
worried for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very, I mean, again, that's part of it, I think. And honestly, Nick, if
I
I
think
was
there's a
21,
problem
I
there.
should be eager to get my hands on a few
I just think
WWE
that Howdy had an
talent
injury at a bad time and he was
maybe
out for a few
we
months
stole
and it just
maybe a
derailed a lot of the
but grabbing a
plans.
couple and see if you can turn it into, Hunter, Fumble. If you can kind of turn if you got
Most
people
likely.
motivated to do it. I'm not sure you can.
Okay,
But I'd be
Damien's
motivated to
coming
try.
out down to the
It
ring.
would take some time. You can't do that like with who they let go. You can't do that out the gate.
I'm tired of LA Knight.
No,
It's
I
just
mean,
always
I don't
the
think
same
so. I mean,
said
again, you might be a little
Dr.
hard pressed, but you
Chalala.
have a really good plan. Again, I mean, I know
Okay, so
there's a level
here's
of likeness to all
Damien
of them,
Priest making
but at
his
the end of
way
the day,
down to the ring.
Again, people ask for don't bench all these people. You can't put
They're
everyone
trying
on
to
TV.
invest in
And
this
anytime
kind
I
of
know,
card feud, but
SmackDown
Oh,
goes back
boy.
to 2 hours. Well, that's a
I
whole
read
other
the main official. I know we were talking about it. It's
Leave
been
that
very much discussed.
I think
I'm
LA
playing
Knight's a
it
bit
up.
cold.
Yes,
I think
that's
Damien's
gonna be
a
lovely.
bit
2
cold.
hours SmackDown on a Friday. Mwah.
Especially when we got 3 hours and we had 1.5 matches announced.
Right? Yeah, that's a good point. Here comes Damian Priest. But yeah, I mean, again, I think that's also another
WrestleMania happened and I was going to be moving on. I'll catch up with all
And you
these
have all these
super
people
chats
that
in a
are
second,
doing
guys.
something that are quote
I'm not
unquote
ignoring you, but
people
I'm
want
just
to
trying to
see Leo. We just got
catch
the
the
Lucha
start of
Bros.
SmackDown. Once you get
Malachi's
to
back.
commercial break, we'll
Rusev's
get
back.
to
They want to bring in Mariah
we'll
May.
just blast through them.
They're working on other deals with other international talent. Yeah, you're gonna do something.
You picked the wrong
We
time,
said
you
it
picked
in
my
advance.
time.
If you want this to be a sport, then it's going to be a sport. You got to have a 52-man roster with however you want to look at it. You have to fit within the confines of what you can viably get people and what's serviceable to retain them. It is still a business. It is still a sport. It is still
I
bottom dollar at the end of the day.
Saved you from eating a
Well, yeah, I
Claymore.
mean, I see it all the time in hockey. It's a hard cap, right? So, I mean, that's one of the things that people talk about Toronto. They put the bulk of their money in 4 guys. So now you got to decide how to distribute what cap you have. And again, if you are thinking to yourself, well, I'd rather have this person pushed or use this person. If
Just
we want
because
more
Drew
carrying
beat
cross
you
on
and pinned you,
TV,
don't put
who
that
do we
on
have to
me.
kind of, who's not going to get a chance?
All
right, sorry, Braun.
Dakota, Caden Carr,
Anything you're
Katana,
gonna do,
Shayna, Cora,
that would
Riley,
be
Eddie,
good.
all have been released, says Baba, Yaga.
Inferno Blade, what up? Anthony, get ready for Shayna. That's right. I absolutely think that if there wasn't a 90 days, I would 100%. If I
You
know
lost your
how
championship
fast
at
you get out of your
WrestleMania,
fucking 90
says
days, what happened?
Damien.
Did they not re-sign you or did they release you? They didn't re-sign you. I will have you on TV tomorrow.
That's going to be the big question. I know the internet sleuths are going to go try and figure it out. So as soon as somebody has some answers, I'm all ears. But yeah, what one is everybody just a cut? 90 days, you're out. Were some people non-extensions?
People stand
Are
it,
they
you know?
free to
Just
go?
a few people
That'd
actually
be cool. I
stand
mean,
it for
again,
this.
we're waiting for Cedric to pop up. At what point?
These two bickering
Again,
is
I
a
hate to
bit
do
flat
this.
to
We got
me.
LA Knight and Damien. At what point is
WDPN.
there too much WWE talent? Like people want Cedric coming in. People want,
Maybe if your head wasn't up your ass at Mania, you'd still be
Too
champion.
many, like 5, 6,
That's
7,
got the
8
crowd
people
going,
on a roster.
How many people do you
oh.
still associate as WWE talent? Like, is technically WWE talent. Do you still think of her as WWE talent? Or do
Telling
you
you
think of
now.
her as AEW Ring of Honor
Keep talking like that.
Yeah, but I mean,
We're
with
gonna have a
the current available talent, do you
So it's
skip up
Damien,
8 of them,
it's
9
LA
of them,
Knight, they're
all
just
of them,
exchanging a few words,
4
kind
of
of
them? Like,
going back and
you
forth.
want all of them, including other ones that have been released recently. Like, do you get your hands on a BQC or a Cedric? Is it?
I don't see why we should wait, says Damien. I don't see why they should wait. It's a very passionate crowd, actually. They're making lots of noise.
And we threw who's on the waiver wire that will fit my current roster, will fit what I have going right now. Not just signing a guy because he's a name or he's this, that, or whatever. You need to, if you're Tony, you need to think about And you even mentioned if Tony might need to do
Okay,
this
a
at some
referee's
point.
coming down. Are we
But
doing Damien
you
LA
need
Knight right
to-
now?
well, he does it just passive
Okay.
aggressively.
Hello?
But you need to think about who
Right, Damian
was
Priest
working
against
your
LA
story.
Knights
Sheamus and
is,
work.
coming up.
Here, there's a women's tag team right there. There's
Right, let's go
there
to
will be-
the super chat.
Fair enough. Case by case.
she's the child.
JP said
in
normal
Moxley's
practice
arm.
for businesses to fire
Well,
on the
that was what
first
Maria was supposed
Friday of the month,
Yeah, but
says
she-
JP.
Well,
She's
she,
more of a
Joe
China
said you
TV
might
there.
be a boomer, but you are on my
wow,
contact
Damian
list.
popping.
Joe, I really appreciate the support, my friend.
Yeah.
JP,
Yeah.
thank you as well.
Get
Yeah.
around here. I don't want to wait for this show to be over. All right.
Yeah, we're trying to do justice to SmackDown, but we got things to talk about.
Big love to the voices community, but in record time, we got the other people in the other community with the, oh my God, these releases are so bad. Let me tell you who they should have fired. Yeah, again, so are you like, okay, they should have kept these people and released these people. Are we being a little petty at that point as far as, what, you don't give a shit about
Honestly,
the other
I
person?
just find
Get rid of
this
this person.
so. If
Yeah, it's not about if you're realistic.
My
you're
head's
gonna
not
look
in
at it and
it.
talk
Like,
about
I
it.
just
Fuck the
don't
rest
care
of the
about
context.
this
Is that
show.
not
And
disgusting?
maybe if
Oh,
they'd opened with something a bit hotter,
Man,
I
Yeah,
would care
no,
about
you
it.
should have
But I
fired
just really
today.
do not find
You should
myself
have
sitting
fired
here right
Steve.
now,
yeah.
Because
really
Steve
giving
eat
much
my
of a fuck
fucking
about
lunch every
SmackDown.
time we're before I
Okay,
go
we're
on
gonna
that
cover
break.
it. Make no mistake about it. But
How did
you know, my
again,
head's sort of like
take the
spinning
wrestling
with like.
context out of it? To sit
Yeah,
there
I
and
suppose
say,
those
no,
kind
you
of
shouldn't
questions
fire
that
this
you've got
person,
and
but
questions
that
I've got,
person.
like who's going to
It's
go
just
where?
disgusting.
Could AEW pick up any of
A
those
little bit, a
people?
little bit, a little
Will
bit.
also
I
end
mean,
up going to
Well,
Japan.
imagine you and I
You know,
are
could
our
Eddie Thorpe
coworkers
go
right
to
now,
Japan?
my guy. And
I mean, the
like, I'm about
Jakarta
to
one
lose my
came
job.
through
I'm out there
literally what, 5
hacking.
minutes,
No,
10
you
minutes
shouldn't
before
fire
we
me. You should
before
fire
SmackDown.
him.
I mean, could it
Dude,
be a
it's
case
Floyd
that we get
Trippus. Okay, kill
more
him.
news coming through? Is that they're calling people and they might be able to reach them?
I'd rather release me. That's the release everybody
It
wants.
seems like
That's
there's
what
a
we
fair
got. We
few
are gonna
NXT
see Kevin
talents. I
Owens
mean,
release.
the
I
actual
saw
main
this
roster
one
talents
against Day.
not as deep as I would have anticipated. I think I would have expected a little more. So in that regard, it's good. But you know, again, I have to stress this: you never want to see anyone lose their job. There's some things that I think are pretty much accepted by wrestling fans,
It's gonna be a
which
good
is
one.
you
And
don't want to
everybody
see people
understand
losing
when
their
you buckle around,
jobs,
buckle up and
and
beat.
you don't want to be
That's your one
speculating
shot.
as
You
to
gotta
who
go
could
to
lose
another.
their jobs. Those
Shout
are kind of a couple of
shout out my guy. I hope you're
comes
doing
to
okay. I
releases,
got my
right?
dog ashes, you know,
So
teasing
they're
my
just
guy.
standard
We
things,
all love
but
our
like to
pets
do
and,
go through that
Yeah,
for
I
an
know, big
hour
love,
and
my
then
guy.
start SmackDown, and it's just so. It's just
That
rubbish.
at least we
It's just
could
really
be your ray of sunshine.
I
Your
hope we will
THC
get into
smoke,
the
that's
show. I just don't
your
think that what we've had so
peripherals.
far has
We'll
been
do
very
that.
compelling, and
We've been-
I think it's going to need to be something pretty major.
You're not
You know,
gonna
we're going to need to start with a Randy
Right.
Orton or something like that to really go, right,
Matt,
come on, let's go.
two of you has given us $5. Thank you so much, sir. Tony Khan should definitely bring in Braun and team him with MJF. I think that'd be great. Should,
Can I talk about my whole MJF hurt sitting theory now though?
okay, yes, you were so excited as we
Yes,
did,
because I've been waiting.
okay, but that tour. Like that
But the
was
live
literally a
crowd
balloon
seems
to
to be
pop.
into it so
38%
far.
going LA.
So, Joe, shout out to you. I appreciate the kind words. But JP, thank you, my
Not a
friends.
lot of love. for
Ian
this
said this
one.
sucks.
Go,
So now
shoot.
we're going to go into
We don't
SmackDown
know. I
feeling
think
like
like halfway let it out
yeah,
there. The
Ian,
guy on the
I
back
think
of
you
it,
hit the nail on the head there.
You
But
get Cedric.
That is
he's, I think,
exactly
8 days left or so.
how
on
I
9
feel
days.
about it as well.
You get him to show up.
Ty said, right,
Finally,
who's been
MJF's
released?
won over Bob.
Okay,
He's
yeah,
gonna
I've
do it
got
even after he sat there and
lists, but I
said
just
he
need
needed
to
a
go
road
into
game
the
and got
folders.
choked out in the corner.
Off the top of my head. So
and then get the three
NXT,
thumbs,
it's
and then
Riley
Cedric
Osborne,
Blam and no, we brought in
Cora
another
Jade,
member.
Gigi
Cedric,
Dolan, and
not
Jakara
MJF.
Jackson. So it
And
looks
we
like
had
5
MJF versus Bob.
names is what we're aware of.
How will we all
5
in?
names
Like,
is
I
what
do-
we're aware of.
I am still interested if they
Main
go with
roster,
MJF.
Dakota Kai, Shayna
But I
Baszler,
think it's very
Kane,
nice.
Katana, and Boyd. I think there's about
Yeah, I
10
mean, I would agree with
names in
that. I still
total.
think it's the.
I
I
think
mean,
we're
they
looking
could
at
do
about
the same
10
thing,
names in
right?
total
Like
of
where
people that have been
He
released.
finds a way into the group.
Which actually,
and
when you
has
put
a
it
little knuckle.
that way, is
I think this
the 10
rejection
people.
leads to a match.
10
like,
wrestlers
I
have been
agree
released
with
today
Alexander.
across NXT.
MJF fights Bobby at Double or Nothing. Cedric shows up. You know, they all give him a ha-ha. And then MJF does need some friends. Now he'd have to wait almost 90 days to get Braun, but
Put him with FTR, Pinnacle.
yeah.
FTR is heel, but would that be make Bobby face and then MJF the heel? Or
They already cut Anvil, like,
I know, so it's weird you have heel versus heel.
And
right, like
main
everyone's
roster.
cheering. We heard people.
but I mean, here's
popping
the,
for
well,
Well, you mentioned the same thing. I can see that, and that's why we go with I like to see it.
Sammy, is it Sammy?
I'm not exactly that.
I mean, there are. It's been the best streak that we get in 3 weeks. The one really good pro wrestler. Right. They may go to the second row. The rumor that Dallas
And we
is also
still
running
not
down.
signed
Oh,
to a
don't break
major
Casey's
wrestling
heart. Don't do that,
company.
right? I'll be here to console him.
But
Yeah, I'm a little bummed out. It's
wrestling
true
is
because
still
I
paying
feel
our
like these guys
bills,
had a lot to
and
offer.
we're
They
in
just
love
never-
with the hustle
I don't know.
more
just never
than